Hello, and welcome back to American Chapter Podcast. How are you doing today? Honestly, take a second. Are you feeling energized, or is the 2-hour ritual feeling like a bit of a climb today? Remember, consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up even when you're tired. Today, we're tackling one of the most difficult C1 skills in English, the art of disagreement. In many cultures, being direct is fine. In others, you never say no to your face. But in America, we have a very specific dance. We want to be honest, but we also want to be diplomatic. How do you tell someone they are wrong without burning the bridge? A few days ago, I was in a production meeting for this podcast. One of the editors suggested we stop using the 2-hour ritual because it was too hard. I completely disagreed, but I didn't say you're wrong. Instead, I used softeners. If you just say, I disagree, it sounds like a slap to the face. To be a social chameleon, you need to use hedging phrases to create a buffer. Here is my exact script. The validation start, I totally hear where you're coming from regarding the difficulty. The pivot, at the same time, I'm not sure I'm on the same page about removing it. The alternative, what if we just focused on how to make the 30-minute chunks easier instead? Another example from yesterday. A friend of mine was insisting that one must move to an English-speaking country to become fluent. I'm a huge advocate for immersion at home, so I said, I see your point. Living abroad is a huge shortcut, but I've actually seen people achieve C1 fluency just by being disciplined with a 30-minute daily immersion session right where they are. By starting with I see your point, I built a bridge before I crossed it. You aren't fighting, you're just sharing a nuanced perspective. Before we get into the phrases, let's look at the data behind why Americans talk this way. It's not just about being nice, it's about cultural logic. Low context versus high context. According to anthropologist Edward T. Hall, the U.S. is a low context culture. This means we value clear, explicit communication. We don't like to guess what you mean. However, because we are so direct, we use softeners to prevent the other person from feeling attacked. It's a balance of clarity plus kindness. The 85% rule. A famous study by CPP Global found that 85% of employees deal with conflict at work. The most successful ones aren't the ones who avoid it, it's the ones who know how to navigate it without creating friction. Politeness theory. Social psychologists talk about something called negative face. This is our desire to not be pushed around or told what to do. When you say you're wrong, you're attacking someone's face. When you use a softener, you are protecting their dignity so they stay open to your ideas. Exact phrases for your active notebook. A, I see your point, but... The classic. B, I'm not sure I entirely agree with that. Softens the blow. C, I have a slightly different perspective on this. Very professional. D, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we say? Diplomatic way to point out a mistake. Now, what about those intrusive questions? Sometimes people ask things that are none of their business, like, how much do you pay for rent? Or, who did you vote for? Or, when are you getting married? In the US, these are touchy subjects. You don't have to answer them, but you don't have to be mean either. Here is how you shut it down politely. 1. The honest deflect. Oh, I'd rather not get into that right now, if you don't mind. 2. The humorous pivot. Haha, enough about my bank account. Let's talk about that killer workout you did. 3. The firm boundary. That's a bit of a personal question for me. I'd prefer to stick to another topic. Those boundaries are my safety net, but let's be real. Sometimes you don't have time to play the long game of diplomacy. Sometimes the conversation moves fast, and you need a bit of edge and speed to keep things moving on your terms. That's exactly where Jacob's street-smart approach comes in. Jacob, show them how you handle the heat when things get a little spicy and there's no script to follow. How do you keep that quick-wit energy?
Yo, Maya, you're the queen of diplomacy. I'm a bit more direct, but I've learned that if you lose your cool, you lose the conversation. I call this rolling with the punches. For example, just this morning at the gym, this guy comes up to me while I'm doing squats. He starts giving me advice that was actually just him being a know-it-all. He said, "You're going too deep. You're going to hurt your knees." Instead of getting defensive or arguing, I used a quick-wit stabilizer. I just smiled and said, "I appreciate the input, but I'm actually following a specific program that requires this range of motion. I'll keep that in mind, though." It totally disarmed him. He didn't know what to say because I didn't give him an argument to fight with. Another one. Someone recently told me, "That's a stupid way to learn a language." I didn't get mad. I just asked a clarifier. "That's interesting. What makes you say that?" Suddenly, they have to explain their rude comment while I just sit back and listen. It's a total power move. When things get intense, you need quick-wit reactions. If someone says something aggressive like, "That's a stupid idea," don't get angry. That's a trap. Instead, try these. 1. The clarifier. "That's interesting. What makes you say that?" This puts the pressure back on them to explain. 2. The agree to disagree. "Look, I think we're just going in circles here. Let's agree to disagree and move on to the next point." 3. The call out. "Whoa, let's keep it professional. I'm happy to discuss the idea, but let's leave the insults out of it." To react immediately, you have to stop translating in your head. This is why our 30-minute speaking sessions are so vital. You need those reflex phrases ready so you don't freeze up when the pressure is on. The diplomat's vocabulary list. Foundational phrases. 1. To be honest. A polite way to introduce a potentially negative opinion. "To be honest, I didn't love the ending." 2. On the same page. In agreement. "I don't think we're on the same page about the budget." 3. Actually. Used to correct someone gently. "Actually, I think the meeting is at 3 o'clock. Advanced diplomatic language. 1. Roll with the punches. Idiom to adapt to difficult situations or criticism without getting upset. 2. Diplomatic. Adjective being careful not to offend people. You handled that angry customer in a very diplomatic way. 3. Nuance. Noun small. Subtle differences in meaning or opinion. There's a lot of nuance in this debate. 4. Advocate. Verb to publicly support a particular way of doing something. I advocate for a more flexible schedule. 5. Friction. Noun disagreement or conflict between people. There was some friction in the office after the announcement. Shadowing practice. The diplomatic flow. Let's practice the rhythm of a respectful disagreement. Repeat after me. Double reps. If you're driving or walking, say them out loud. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But I have a different perspective. But I have a different perspective. Let's agree to disagree. Let's agree to disagree. I'd rather not discuss that. I'd rather not discuss that. I'm staying the course with my ritual. I'm staying the course with my ritual. Actually, I think there's a bit more nuance here. Actually, I think there's a bit more nuance here. To be honest, I'm not sure we're on the same page yet. To be honest, I'm not sure we're on the same page yet. I'm trying to be diplomatic, but I have to disagree. I'm trying to be diplomatic, but I have to disagree. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there another way? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there another way? I value your input, but I have a different perspective. I value your input, but I have a different perspective.
That was awesome, Jacob. Thank you very much. So, disagreement doesn't have to be a fight. It's just an exchange of ideas. When you master these softeners, you stop being a student and start being a leader in English. Question of the day: have you ever had to disagree with a boss or a friend in English? How did it go? Did you feel rude, or were you able to stay diplomatic? Tell us your story in the comments. I'm Maya, he's Jacob, and this is American Chapter Podcast. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.